Alrighty, guys. Good afternoon to you guys here. It is May 10th here, this second Saturday of the month here. Hope you guys are all doing well this afternoon. And I apologize once again, guys, for getting this video out late to you guys. As always, this afternoon, I was at a race in Indiana this morning. Ended up actually getting first place in my 5K this morning for the second time this month. So went up there, just got off the couch, did it, and boom, won it. So that was a lot of fun this morning. But other than that, we got some severe weather ongoing down here into the southeast. As I mentioned in the last prior videos, this was definitely something we were going to be concerned about. Got a pretty big area of low pressure system that's here somewhere in the southeast. Lots of moisture wrapped around that. We've actually got an active tornado watch back down here into portions of the panhandle of Florida and southern portions of Georgia and Alabama here. There was actually a PDS tornado warning earlier this afternoon, right around lunchtime, that ended up producing a pretty significant tornado in the southern portions of Alabama, just outside of the Dothan area. Luckily, Dothan did not get hit, but some areas did in around the area. So thoughts and prayers go out to those people that were impacted from that. Other than that, we really haven't seen too much other than a couple severe thunderstorm warnings since that, brief couple tornadoes. What we're going to be talking about, guys, is going to be the transition to next week. Next week is starting to look more and more concerning. There's going to be a capping inversion associated with some days of severe weather. It looks like we are going to start to see some severe weather every single day progressively here. Monday, we also need to watch here in the southeast. We could see a hidden strong tornado risk somewhere at play across Georgia, South Carolina, and the Florida Panhandle again on Monday. So I will let you guys know there will not be a weather update stream today. We'll be getting back at that again tomorrow night, and then we'll be back at doing coverage starting on Monday. So if there's any severe weather Monday through next week, we'll be here to cover it. I also will mention as well, don't forget, guys, me and Rochelle are about 19 days away from going on our vacation. This is going to be our only vacation. This is our only vacation we've been able to do since last year. So we will be gone on the May 29th through June 2nd. So if you guys need weather to watch, people to keep updates with, Connor's Climate Corner will be another one, as well as Jessica's weather. Those two people, Connor and Jessica, are great people. Love watching them, and good weather people out there. So if you guys need two people to watch, definitely go for them as well. Outside of that, though, like I said, we're going to dive into this video here. We've got a lot of things to talk about in terms of severe weather. Still got a lot of uncertainties to figure out. So if you guys have questions, comments, concerns prior to the next 3 days, they're going to have to wait, as we're going to have some things to figure out in terms of going into next week. But nevertheless, severe weather, guys. We are about to close out the month of May pretty significantly with a lot of severe weather. We'll go ahead and dive into that forecast here and talk about what we're going to be seeing here. We'll go ahead and go over to the Storm Prediction Center outlook for this afternoon here. We've got a level 2 slight risk here at play for today. Let me get this pulled back up. There we go. Level 2 slight risk at play for today. We've got a 5% tornado risk still existing here for portions of southern Alabama, southwestern Georgia, and the Florida Panhandle here. Most of this tornado threat should start to wrap up later on this evening here. We've also got a marginal risk back up here into portions of Idaho and Montana, and then a marginal risk outside of the slight risk here in the southeast and Florida area. So once again, tornadoes will be the main threat down here in the southeast for today. Like I said, we've already actually gone through majority of the afternoon threat here. So still a conditional threat out there for a couple tornadoes, maybe even a strong tornado once again there for portions of that 2% and 5% risk zone area. Wind and hail will be in both risk zones, both up in the high plains as well as back down into the southeast, and then hail will also be possible from Fort Myers, Florida, all the way up here into Columbus, Georgia. So just be mindful of that if you're out and about today. A couple storms out there, lots of heavy rain falling as well. So it's a really gross weekend if you're in the southeast. And I mentioned that over the last couple of days that it would be a gross weekend, and it's definitely going to be that. So we will get to the risk zones for tomorrow here. We've got two marginal risks tomorrow. I don't think tomorrow is going to be too big of a deal. Looks like we're going to have a little bit less instability tomorrow. That can change, but as of right now, as I'm making this video, a little bit lower threat tomorrow. More of a widespread threat southeast-wise, but a lower threat, level 1 risk out of 5 here in that marginal. Also, marginal risk for severe weather back up here into the high plains and into the upper Midwest here again as well. We've got the threat for wind and hail up here into Montana. We've got portions of North Dakota, portions of northern Wyoming and Idaho, and a wind and hail risk, and then a tornado wind and hail risk back down here into Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and portions of Florida and South Carolina. 2% tornado risk there in the green, wind threat in the 5, and then a hail threat in the 5, basically low and isolated tornado risk, damaging winds up to 60 to 70 miles per hour, and a couple of storms could produce some hail 1 to 2 inches in diameter. Now, we get to Monday's forecast. Monday is a little bit more tricky, a little bit more interesting. If things go the way that they're going right now, and we'll talk about the models here in a second. Still not quite in range on our short range models for Monday afternoon, but I will mention I would not be shocked to see Monday get trending up. The reason why that is we're going to have a little bit more instability. We could have some more shear. Our winds are going to be backed a little bit more to the low pressure system that's going to be cut off here in the Gulf, just allowing for more buoyancy in the atmosphere, more shear. And when you get that overlapped with pretty decent kinematics, you're going to get the threat for a couple of tornadoes. And I wouldn't even rule out a strong tornado somewhere down here, maybe in northern Florida up into portions of Georgia and South Carolina. So if you are in those areas, not only do you have to worry about the severe weather threat, you have to worry about the threat for significant flash flooding. We could be seeing anybody in the southeast, including North Carolina, South South Carolina and Georgia, anywhere from 4 to 8 inches of rainfall. We'll talk about that here again in just a minute, but I do want to watch Monday very closely. I think a slight risk is definitely on the play. I wouldn't even rule out, if this does get upgraded to a slight risk by tomorrow or even by the day of, I wouldn't rule out an enhanced risk being issued for maybe a small 10% hatch tornado risk. It does look like those parameters are a little bit higher than they are today and tomorrow. So we'll keep you guys updated down here in the southeast. Still about 3 days to get ready for that. Jacksonville, Atlanta, Tampa, St. Petersburg, Florida, Orlando, you're some of those areas there. Savannah, Charleston. We'll have to watch it and see what happens. We'll talk about that here in just a second. Now, we get to the day through 4-8 outlook here on the Storm Prediction Center, and we finally have a risk zone highlighted. It's not day 4, it's not day 5. I do think there will be some low-end severe weather threat on Tuesday and on Wednesday. Not quite yet known where that's going to be at. It'll probably be somewhere up here in the high plains. There's going to be a very strong capping inversion. That's an inversion aloft in the atmosphere that keeps basically storms from firing off. You have to have a lid, or the lid be broken in the atmosphere for storms to be able to fire off and become severe. So we're going to have that in place really majority of the day on Tuesday, on Wednesday, maybe even a little bit into Thursday. But the issue is where we start to get into Thursday. We have no day 4, no day 5 outlook. Like I said, probably we'll see risk zones issued at some point there. But day 6 is where things get interesting. So this is going to be for Thursday. We do have a level 2 out of 5 slight risk here for portions of central and southern Wisconsin, eastern Iowa, pretty much the whole state of Illinois, almost all of Indiana, northwestern Kentucky, including Owensboro, back down here into Paducah. We've also got portions of western Michigan and eastern Missouri. Now, this is also going to be an interesting day. We are going to have a pretty decent amount of instability. We actually are going to have instability pushing 5,000 joules per kilogram, which is insane. We're going to have dew points in the upper 70s, which is not something we see too often, at least till we get to this time of the year. Temperatures are going to be in the upper 80s, pushing the 90s. So it's going to be a very atmospheric explosive day is what I'm getting at. And if storms can fire off and initiate on Thursday's risk zone, we could see a big issue for tornadoes and some damaging wind and some large hail. So just something to make note of on Thursday. It's not set in stone yet. That risk zone is there. So if you're in these colors, I'm actually in this color shaded area as well. Not time to freak out. We got 6 days here to kind of get ready for this, but I do think Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of next week are going to be our big days. And then we look even bigger into maybe even an outbreak going in potentially into that third into the 4th week of May here. So we're going to have to watch these days very, very closely starting on Thursday. Like I said, very explosive atmosphere coming here in the future. Day 7 and day 8 have not been highlighted, but the Storm Prediction Center has mentioned 15% probabilities are possible for the Mid-Atlantic and the Ohio Valley going into the future in future upgraded outlooks. So we're going to have to watch this. We'll check back in on this each day. Chicago, Indianapolis, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, St. Louis, Fort Wayne are some of the areas that are highlighted in that risk zone for Thursday. So we'll keep you guys updated on that. Now, another thing I want to show you guys here, this is a very interesting graph. This gives us an idea of just a sum of where our higher severe weather threat could be and where it could be at. This is a graph. This is where we're at currently right now. This is where we have to go in terms of the next couple of days. If you look at the 13th of May all the way through the 23rd of May, this is a 10-day sequence of just severe weather barrage potentially that we could be seeing. Now, is this going to be significantly large severe weather? Is this going to be outbreaks? We don't quite know yet. Some of those details are still trying to be fine-tuned. I don't necessarily think we're going to see any outbreaks right now, but I do think significant severe weather is going to be on the table going into next week, especially towards Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, maybe even into the following week after that. We're just still not quite yet certain on what the troughing is going to look like. Our troughing could be a big issue in terms of if we get significant severe weather or if we get low in severe weather. Both severe weather it's not going to matter. Severe weather, but what we're getting at is a stronger tornado risk, damaging wind threat, and hail threat. I will mention though, just kind of looking at our jet stream, and we're going to talk about this here in a second as well, but looking at our jet stream, it definitely does look more favorable for damaging winds, large hail, and then the tornadoes would be kind of the third component to that. So here's an idea of where we could see. I'm sure you guys have been seeing this if you follow X, Facebook, or any of these other weather sites, or follow anybody on the weather sites at all. This is probably a graphic you've been seeing going around. This doesn't show you where the slam dunk severe weather is going to be. I want to quote that now. This is going to be where an idea of where severe weather could be at, not exactly where it's going to bullseye or any of that, but it does look like we're going to see a very, very active United States going into the May 17th through the May 23rd timeframe, and that's going to start at the end of next week. So just something to be very, very mindful of as we go towards the end of May here, guys. We are in peak tornado season, so really anything can happen. I just wanted to throw that out to you guys here. We'll kind of talk about our jet stream. As I mentioned here the last couple of days, ridging is what we've been seeing here. We've got a pretty big high pressure system sitting here over the Four Corners, sitting off the Rockies here, keeping things nice and dry. This is this pesky cutoff flow that's going to be sitting here for the next 3 to 4 days, and it's not going to move. It's going to spin. It's actually going to intensify going into Monday, and I think that's where we get a stronger tornado threat or an elevated tornado threat going into Monday. You can see showers and storms through Sunday, through Monday, and then this is where I want to watch this little quadrant right up in here for central southern Georgia, southeastern Alabama, the western portion of the Florida here, and getting up into South Carolina. This is where I think the zone for maybe even an isolated strong tornado could be at play going into Monday afternoon. We're going to have to watch the instability. I think definitely the models are showing that compared to what they were a couple days days ago, but the shear is definitely going to be there. This is mid-level shear. We'll take a look at low-level shear here in a second. But this cutoff low is going to be in place until about Tuesday, and then it finally will exit the country on Wednesday. And then just in time as we get that system off, here is our next system. This is what's going to bring the threat for some severe weather on Wednesday. We could have a conditional capped environment up here into the upper high plains on Wednesday. There definitely will be instability. There'll definitely be dew points, but the capping inversion might be an issue, and it may not allow for any storms to fire off. We'll figure that out more as we get closer to this. But as we go into Thursday and Friday, we start to see that jet stream kind of intensify a little bit. You're going to have an upper level low sitting up here near Canada. We'll have some bulk shear that's going to be sitting here over the Missouri Boot Hill up into the plains and back into the Midwest here. This is where I think more confined severe weather will be possible on Thursday. You can clearly see where that risk zone is in place at there. That level 2 slight risk for portions of Illinois, Indiana, or all of Illinois, Indiana, northwestern Kentucky, and Iowa. So that shear doesn't line up with that with our setup where SBC has that at. And then going into Friday and Saturday, this is what we call more zonal flow. And these can allow for more MCSs, mesoscale convective scale systems, as big lines of storms that produce damaging winds, some embedded tornadoes, large hail. This is what this favors. So we're going to have to watch this going into Friday, going into Saturday, and going into Sunday of next weekend here. And that really doesn't, stop the severe weather. It looks like we could even see more potential potent severe weather, maybe even the threat for an outbreak going into the following Monday. This is still 9 days out, way, way, way too far out to kind of consider, but just the potential is on the table. It looks like we're going to continue to see a very, very active month of May before June gets here. And then after that, the last week of May, maybe potentially a little bit less active. We'll just kind of see what happens going after this coming up week. Another thing I wanted to show you guys is that low-level jet here. Just gives us an idea of where that low-level spin could be. And I want to show you guys just looking at Monday here. And we could see just enough low-level spin here in the lower levels of the atmosphere to get us some type of little tornado risk going here. We'll have to watch this. It's not super, super impressive, but just enough maybe for a strong tornado or two. Another thing here, we'll show you guys the future radar here. Gives you kind of an idea of where the showers and storms are going to be at. These global models don't handle everything too well. They don't handle capping inversions too well. So just be mindful when we're showing these here in terms of where that rain's going to be at, but lots of rain falling in the southeast through Tuesday. That system clears out, and then on Wednesday and Thursday, you can see our second system coming in here for Thursday and for Friday, and our next system coming in on Saturday and Sunday behind that there as that moves into the Rockies on Friday and Saturday, and then we get more towards the end of the next weekend, and we can see more organized severe weather across the Ohio Valley, the Midwest. So my big areas to watch next week are going to be the Midwest, the Plains, the Ohio Valley, really more the Ohio Valley and the Midwest going into Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, where I think we're going to see more robust chances of severe weather going into the later half of the week. We'll talk more about in-depth modeling in tomorrow night's stream, as well as in my video tomorrow. We'll have instability. We'll have our dew points. Kind of want to wait for one more day to get some things out there before we start talking about that, but there will be instability. The dew points will definitely be sufficient enough for severe weather going into next week. It's just, is the capping inversion going to be an issue or not? Here's rainfall through the next 7 to 10 days here, I should say. And where do we see majority of that rainfall at? The southeast and the lower Ohio Valley here. This is going to be anywhere from 3 to 5 inches of rainfall. I wouldn't even be isolated as an isolated chance of there being 4 to 8 inches of rainfall somewhere in the South Carolina, Georgia area there. So just be mindful if you're out and about, guys. Watch floods, watch flooded roadways. Don't drive, turn around, don't drown. Watch the streams, watch the creeks, etc. All that. If you get severe weather alerts, tornado warnings, you know what to do. Get to your safe place. Have alerts on your phones. Have weather radios charged up and ready to go. I'll have more information on this for you guys in tomorrow's video. We will have tomorrow's video out tomorrow morning. I don't have anything going on, so it'll be out pretty early. But other than that, guys, be safe out there. Have a wonderful, wonderful Saturday. And by the way, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Hope you guys have a wonderful Sunday tomorrow, guys, and be safe.